or did you guys give those away already?
I think Spanos has burned to the ground, unfortunately.
That's fake news.
That
It is not
happen?
burnt to the ground. There is a fire on the Pauley Hills behind campus up near the P. It is pretty scary, but I think everyone's okay. I haven't heard anything otherwise.
Yes.
Is that more of the protesting stuff?
Yeah.
Could be.
Actually, I'm pretty sure it was a freshman with a joint, but same sort of thing.
We're pretty sure it was someone lighting up something they shouldn't have been lighting up.
Chris, real quick before you go, put yourself in the mind of an NFL player. What do you do?
You see, I stay in the locker room.
You just don't want to have the pressure, or you don't want to?
No. I don't want to add to it. I don't want to be the name that people read in an article. Oh, he sat. Oh, he's standing. Rather, just focus on the game itself. We're here to play football. We're here to be entertaining for the fans. We're not here to, add to drama, add to controversy. Now, voicing your opinion and protesting is, totally up to any individual that, gets the spotlight shined upon them. But, me for one, I don't know. It's tough either way. I mean, like you attested to. I mean, I have had family in the military, and I've gotten mixed responses of whether they think it's disrespectful or not. You see social media, you see World War II veterans and Vietnam veterans that are, posting pictures on one knee saying, hey, it's okay for these guys to take a knee, during the American flag, during the national anthem. So, I think Donald Trump, obviously stirred this way past what it needed to be, but let's not forget that before he was even elected, Kaepernick started taking the knee. So obviously Trump added the fuel to the fire, but the original protest was against police brutality. Now it's become a protest against the president, and the president, unfortunately, right now, is the face of the United States of America.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Chris.
That might have been the most affluent and thoughtful you've ever been.
Chris is very affluent. He's always been affluent. Dude's spending money like he's going out of style.
I'm taking off on my yacht in about 5 minutes, so I had to make this quick.
Well, make sure to get to Santa Maria by 8 a.m. sharp Friday morning, because me and Burdick will be waiting for you there. We'll save you the middle.
Hold on, I have Eric here with me. Hold on, real quick. Eric. Fog in the morning is the peril of the Central Coast.
God, you better hope that he does not hear that.
Eric, Eric? What are you doing in Los Osos?
Oh, Ethernet.
All right, Chris. Before you bust a vein in your head, one last question for you. What do you think about the movie It?
Oh yes. We were waiting to ask about this.
I was recently added to the board of directors at Rotten Tomatoes, and I had given that movie a very strong rating before I saw it in hopes that they wouldn't make me see it, but sure enough, they made me go see it with the CEO.
Yeah.
And I'm no longer on the board of directors at Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, that's what happens when you pee in your pants, right, in a very crowded movie theater.
No. It was more than just that. There was more in the pants.
Yeah.
But, if you love to see, children between the ages of 4 or 6,
spoiler alert.
Yeah, that's if you. It's a kid. Take your kids,
there's
take
kids
your wife,
take
the family out to the local theater, preferably late at night.
Yeah.
Watch the movie, and then they're doing some sort of giveaway. I think it's in San Luis Obispo, where if you look in any gutters on the street and you find the clown, it has to be kids under the age of 7. If you do that, then you'll win a big prize.
Oh well, I won a big prize. The children I know under 7, I'm sure they love a big prize. Thank you for your review. We're very sorry to hear that you have been dropped by Rotten Tomatoes. We hope to maybe get you on IMDb one of these days, because we know you're a big fan of the cinema. So
yes, a big fan, and don't sleep on Despicable Me 3. That was pretty good too.
Okay, all right, Chris. Chris, he'll be back next week with his movie review of what's the newest movie out? I don't know, but Chris will see it. Yeah, Kingsman.
It'll be It Too by then. It's coming out Friday.
Chris Sylvester, director and play-by-play man extraordinaire. Thank you, Chris. We will talk to you soon.
Hey, thanks, guys. Hey, keep up the great work, guys. Big fan.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. There's Chris Sylvester.
All right, we've had my view. We've had Chris's view.
We gotta go to break, guys.
Alex Klepper, let's hear your thoughts.
Yeah. So as I was alluding to before, Chris called. I had a talk with my father, who he was in the Air Force as well. He wasn't in combat or anything, but he was stationed in Germany in the Cold War, and so he has strong feelings one way, and I had pretty strong feelings the other way. And as you were attesting to, the problems with race and injustice in this country are probably the leading problem in our country right now, whether it be through police brutality or just the run-of-the-mill racism you get every day, whether you're in San Luis Obispo, California, or in the Deep South, or New York, or anywhere in between. I didn't read the entire thing by Greg Popovich of the San Antonio Spurs, but I got the gist of what he's saying. And as a white person, especially a white man, you really have to work to put yourself in the shoes of less fortunate people, because there is no one more fortunate in the history of humankind than a white man in the United States of America around this time. And if you don't think that's true, then you need to step out of your comfort zone and go see what it's like for anyone living in a different country, or a minority living, in a bad area of this country, where there's just, where the social fabrics of this country have failed them to the fact that it's almost impossible for them to get out of poverty. And it makes them turn to crime and to all these different things. And I think, this protest, you said you support the fact that they're protesting, you support their cause, but you don't necessarily agree with the way they're doing it and where they're doing that. And I'm going to have to give a lot of credit to, and some of you may not like him, some of you may think he's a little too brash and a little too direct, but to me, one of the smartest people in sports today is Bomani Jones, and I think he was so phenomenal and enlightening and turning on the different things in my brain that said, yes, this is exactly what I'm trying to say, but he articulated it. So I'm not gonna copy what he said, but a lot of my argument comes from things he has said in the last couple of days. So first of all, this is not, because even though it's during the anthem and it's during when the flag is being saluted, this is not about the flag. They're using this anthem time, like you said, to protest inequality for minorities in America, which has been a problem in America before it was the United States of America, before, when it was just the colonies, whether it be the Native Americans or, the, people from Mexico early in that time, or Mexican immigrants now, or immigrants from any country, especially now, or black people, or anyone, that it is not a white male. Women. I mean, it is very hard to be someone different than the status quo in this country that has normally been in power. So the reason they're using the anthem is because that is the time when all eyes are on them. That is the time when everyone, whether they are conservative or liberal, or voted for Trump or Hillary Clinton, or didn't vote at all, or doesn't, if you're young or you're old, if you're trying to watch football, which, every year for the last, 40 years has been the sport in America, has been the thing that people watch more than anything, that and Walking Dead, of course. This leads to these conversations. If you brought up the fact, these people, they already have a platform and they have a lot of money, they could rent out stadiums and they could speak. But the problem with that is the people that would come to those speeches are the people that they don't have to convince. The people that they have to convince are the people who are upset that they're doing this during the anthem, because it's getting them to think about it and talk about it. And if it takes
10% of the NFL's fan base being irate with the fact that they're doing this, for them to think about the fact that, wait, hold on a second. Maybe they're doing this maybe they're not just protesting fallen soldiers. Maybe they're not just saying, oh, this country, I'm mistreated, blah, blah, blah. I have all this money, but I'm still complaining. They're doing this because it has now reached my dad and your dad and my grandpa and anyone else in this country who wants to watch football but doesn't want to hear about it, about racial issues on a given day. Like myself, I have a few people on my Twitter feed, like news people, Matt Pierce, the guy, Daniel something or other from one of the Canadian newspapers, who I follow for news, who I get a lot of, this, inequality stuff on my feed. And I read about it because it's something that's important to me. I think the fact that, there are a certain set of people in this country who did not have the same protections, in de facto protections. I mean, obviously everyone under the law has the same protections, but in reality, it's not really that case. So I read a lot about it. So they're not doing this for me. They're doing it for the person who turns off the TV whenever they see, a protest in Ferguson, or see a protest in Baton Rouge, where these black people, unarmed black people, were shot and killed. And they're doing this. They're making you make a choice. They're taking one of the things that you love the most, which is American football, which is so long stood for like teamwork and America and strength and everything. And it is such this wide microcosm and petri dish of America that watches football. You could be the most liberal person, you could be the most conservative person, but a lot of big percentage of you will be watching football. It is forcing you to choose either that or to at least acknowledge the fact that these people have such an issue with the way that they're treated in America, that they're making their livelihoods and their livelihoods and their fortune, a lot of these guys make a lot of money. They are putting it at risk to try to enlighten the people who don't want to read and they don't want to see about anything other than what makes them feel good. They are making it uncomfortable for people who do not want to read about racism in America.
Well said, partner.
I have a lot more, but if we want to stop there, we can stop there.
Please keep going.
I mean,
but the moral of the story is it's working.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The fact that everyone's talking about it now means what they're doing is effective. And, my dad, when I talked to my dad about it, his main point of contention was the fact that, the flag represents people who died for this country. And it's true. That is a part of what the flag represents. But the flag also represents our Constitution, and it represents every single citizen of the United States and what our Constitution and Declaration of Independence stands for. And that is, that all people under the rule of law in this country are afforded the same rights to, the pursuit of happiness, and
freedom and justice for all.
Yeah. And it is a symbol that, that everyone should appreciate, that needs to stand for us all. And also, even if you think it's just about the veterans who fell, they fought and fell for our right to protest, like you said. If our troops fight for our freedom and our system of laws and our Constitution, and those afford us the right to protest, then why would you say that because they did that, then you shouldn't ever protest? Like, the greatness of this country is the fact that these people fought for something they believed in, and some of them, unfortunately, have passed from us, but therefore, what they fought for should never be exercised because it would somehow be disrespecting them. It's actually honoring them. Like, it's honoring them by saying, you believed in the American, spirit of, the freedom of the press and freedom from oppression and all these different things. And I am taking the fact that you did this for all of us, and I am exercising my American right to do that. And also, if you forgot, when Kaepernick kneeled last year, Chris was saying about how this was before Trump and it's kind of turned into a thing about Trump, which it kind of has. Kaepernick, I think in his first game last year, he kneeled with Nate Boyer, who was a former Green Beret. And Nate Boyer did not ostracize Colin Kaepernick. He did not